My amplified unit, where the fuck you at? Here, bitch, for the second ever BC's Pro Wrestling Amplified podcast. I want to thank all you guys for making last week's podcast so fucking exceptionally epic, man. The turnout for that one, man, I didn't know. That was my first video coming back after weeks of being gone. I didn't know if everybody would congregate together all at once immediately upon my return, and you guys came back from that first video back from my hiatus, and you guys welcomed me back with open arms, dude. I was blown away by the turnout. I was blown away by the response that video got. I want to thank you guys so much. I am so thankful you guys thoroughly enjoyed that first podcast, and I assure you, we're going to bring the fucking fire. We're going to bring the heat. We're going to bring an epic grade A performance in podcast number 2 as well. We're not holding back. In fact, we're going double or nothing. And in this podcast, guys, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to go over what is 50-50 booking. What is it? You hear the Amplified Man say it all the time, but what's the true meaning? And is the Amplified Man correct? Or am I just blowing smoke up everybody's fucking ass? We're going to go over what 50-50 booking is. I've already done the research, but I'm going to go over the facts with you guys, show you guys the facts, and you're going to be blown away by the numbers I'm about to show you. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over the top 5, the Amplified Man's top 5 shock mic drop promos of all time. Not just my favorite promos, top 5. These are the ones that brought reality into the ring or into the promo, and it had us on the edge of our seats when we didn't expect it, and the promo actually shocked the shit out of us. I'm going to give you guys my top 5 in this very fucking podcast. We're also going to go over WrestleMania rumors. They are starting to really heat up, and some of these are no longer rumors, supposedly, and there's actually matches that are already penciled in. Is there truth to it? What are these matches that are supposedly penciled in? I have the matchups, guys, and they might shock you and they might irritate the shit out of you. We'll go over that as well in this podcast. Obviously, we're going to have the end credits. We're going to go over a lot of quick-fire top stories in the pro wrestling world, just like we're going to do right now in the opening credits, which, again, they're not necessarily our featured stories and our featured scenes, but these are top stories right now in the wrestling world, so we're going to kind of go quick fire, quick shot them at you guys. And I want to start with Shawn Michaels in these opening credits. Shawn Michaels has went out onto a publication in the UK, and Shawn Michaels has stated he is done wrestling. That is it. What you saw in Saudi Arabia was a one-shot deal. There is no more. We saw when Michaels said this before, we didn't see him wrestle for another nearly 10 fucking years. 8, 9 years, whatever the fuck the case. We didn't see that motherfucker for years, so he kept his word. And I think he really felt the heat by Vince McMahon, Triple H. They really needed him for Saudi Arabia, and Shawn Michaels was just a team player. I think if Triple H and Vince McMahon did not kind of pressure him to do such, I don't think we would have ever seen Shawn Michaels return. But Michaels did return at Saudi Arabia, and I think there was a clear path to have him wrestle at Survivor Series, maybe even the Rumble, and WrestleMania. But Shawn Michaels has went out now and said, you know what, that was it. I performed at Saudi Arabia. That was a lot more than I remembered it was. I went back, watched that shit, and you know what, I'm just done. I'm satisfied with what I done. I think maybe Shawn Michaels heard a lot of negativity from that match, even though he carried that match because Triple H was injured early on. And Shawn Michaels was doing all this fucking Shawn Michaels-esque performance from 20 years ago. So Michaels actually did really good in that match. But I think Shawn Michaels knows deep down he lost a step or two. He doesn't have that look anymore of the Heartbreak Kid. And I think that's not what Shawn Michaels wants to be known for. He wants to be known as the Heartbreak Kid from years past. I think all of this had a factor into what Shawn Michaels is saying. You know what? Yes, Saudi Arabia was the first step in many steps of a comeback. But a short comeback, but a comeback nonetheless. But you know what? That got nixed. Triple H got injured, and I had second thoughts about what we're doing here. And I don't want to do it anymore. So Shawn Michaels came out into the UK publication. He said, that's it. No more, there won't be, obviously there wasn't a Survivor Series. There's not going to be a Rumble. and you're not going to see me at WrestleMania. You got to respect Shawn Michaels, man. The fact that he even came out of retirement to help out the team when they needed him the most, that's in Saudi Arabia. It just, for me, personally, I would have rather it been the end match with The Undertaker than at 26. That would have been fine with me. There would have been no reason to come out of retirement just to have a match in Saudi Arabia, man. In my opinion, that actually does taint that comeback a little bit. That does taint the legacy just a tad. But you know what? We know why it was done deep down. He was doing it to be a team player, and you can't fault the guy for that. And don't forget, it was a huge motherfucking payday, too. When you haven't been inside the wrestling ring for 8-9 years, that big payday, money talks sometimes. Shawn Michaels cashed in that check. But it definitely didn't tarnish his legacy overall. The Heartbreak Kid will always be remembered as one of the true definitions of what a pro wrestler is and should always be. Shawn Michaels personifies that. So he does come out, though, guys, that's big news, and he said, I'm done. There'll be no more wrestling from me. Now, I have a story later on when I talk Mania Madness is what I'm calling it, WrestleMania, all the rumors and the penciled-in matches. There's something that contradicts that story. There's something that contradicts Shawn Michaels' own words. Is he truly done? We're going to talk a little bit more about this later on in this podcast. Moving on, though, with the opening credits, guys. Lars Sullivan. They've been spending a lot of promotional and advertising money on Lars Sullivan, and he's coming to WWE, and where's he gonna land? Raw, SmackDown, wherever the fuck he wants, right? Because they're promoting him as some monster, some beast, some freak. However, there's been a lot of issues with Lars Sullivan already, and he hasn't even debuted. After just a week or two of promoting Lars Sullivan, you guys remember, on social media, it became, or it found out, or somebody researched it and found it out, that on bodybuilding.com or some bodybuilding websites, Lars Sullivan left a lot of derogatory and even racist comments. So this was brought to light and management had to deal swiftly. They took all the promotions off for several days, I think even a full week of television. And then they returned with more Lars Sullivan promotion. So apparently they had many discussions within their own boardroom meeting within the Suits and Ties. They had talks with Lars Sullivan, and they felt comfortable moving on from this. They didn't feel that these comments were derogatory enough or racist enough or had any validity to the point where it was going to derail where WWE wanted to go with Lars Sullivan. But that was a big roadblock, guys. After just a couple weeks of promoting him as this next big thing, and now all of a sudden, the social justice warriors are coming out, and the people that dig through your social media to find anything you did wrong, and they pulled all this shit. Now, I don't know what the intention was. Did somebody not want Lars Sullivan to make it in the business? Was it a fucking past fling or past flame in his personal life that wanted to see him go down? Who the fuck knows? But that was a big obstacle that WWE felt confident enough in Lars Sullivan that was not going to derail him. But a roadblock nonetheless. And then, just recently, we find out that they wanted Lars Sullivan to debut on Raw, but not on Raw itself, in the main event show. Or even in a dark match, one of the two. But Lars Sullivan was supposed to compete this past Monday, and come to find out he had a panic attack, and they had to send him home. So it was severe enough that they had to send Lars Sullivan home. That makes you think, where's he at in his mental state? Tuesday, they were going to bring him over there to get some work in because he didn't make Monday, and he never made any of the shows or any match on Tuesday either for the SmackDown taping. Or their fucking pre-show dark match. Nothing. There was no Lars Sullivan. So we obviously think that that's going to be along the same lines of his mental stability and the aforementioned panic attack. Was it so severe he couldn't even make a flight back for Tuesday? But reputable sources are saying that he was supposed to compete Monday, and because he didn't, they were going to fly him out for Tuesday. Or maybe he was supposed to compete both nights, but he never was able to do such for what is being described as just panic attacks. It seems a little bit more than just a panic attack, but we gotta wait and see. This is big news, guys, because What we come to find out, again, through the same reputable sources, is that Lars Sullivan was due for a big WrestleMania feud and match with John Cena. A lot of people were upset when they heard that, but whether you liked it or not, that idea, that was Lars Sullivan's match for WrestleMania, and still could be. I say could be because I don't know if Vince can trust this guy going forward. You have his baggage from his personal life that he already brought in, or was that was resurfaced because people dug it up. But on top of that now, you have his mental state that might not be somebody you can actually invest your time, energy, and money into. I'm not saying you can't. I mean, a lot of people have, mental breakdowns and issues that they have to address on the daily basis. Mauro Ranallo, he comes straight out and says what his condition is and the battles that he has to face every single day from the time he opens his eyes and puts his feet on the ground. And WWE was able to work that out with Mauro and understand it more. So that was really cool. And something like panic attacks is nothing to fool around with. But you don't want this guy in the middle of a fucking ring and all of a sudden he has a breakdown. So Vince has to be careful on where Lars Sullivan is as a person. Before we even think about Lars as a wrestler and his career, we got to worry about his personal state of affairs, his personal mindset. Is he in the game fully? Can he do what you are asking of him? Guys, when the travel really heats up and he's got to travel 300 days a year and he's traveling 4 days out of the 7-day fucking week, are you going to be able to depend that Lars Sullivan can mentally capably do such? Guys, I'm not so sure. From what we're hearing, there's issues with Lars Sullivan, and that's a problem because these are multiple issues now, and the guy has not even debuted. You add on top of that he was nothing special in NXT. And I said that from day one. I'm not player hating here, but Lars Sullivan doesn't do anything for me. He doesn't captivate me in any fucking way. We saw how WWE was able to fuck up somebody like Braun Strowman. And you're gonna tell me that Lars Sullivan will be the next big thing? So many issues, guys. It has the Amplified Man wondering, is Lars Sullivan gonna be able to get to WrestleMania to face John Cena? Is Vince gonna put that much stock in the Lars Sullivan character? Remains to be seen, and it's going to be interesting going forward. Alexa Bliss came on to Lillian Garcia's podcast, and she said she is still not cleared to wrestle, to compete. Her concussion is too many, and it was too severe. And the doctors still to this day do not feel comfortable clearing Alexa Bliss. That's really telling, guys. There could come a moment where the doctors say, you know what, we just can't. We saw it with Daniel Bryan. We've seen it with many superstars where they just say, you know what, this isn't the best bet going forward for you. It looks like Vince McMahon is committed into keeping her a character on television, but it looks like Alexa Bliss's days wrestling could be, I stress could be, over. She is saying she is hopeful that she can come back and even come back soon, but she's been saying that for weeks now, and so far, no improvements. Alexa Bliss's future is really in question, guys. Some people might be fucking ecstatic to hear that. Some people not so much. But I can say as a human being, you never want to hear that somebody has to stop what they're doing because of a health reason. So I wish Alexa Bliss nothing but the fucking best. I wish her a speedy recovery. And I do want to see Alexa Bliss back competing. I really do. Do I think she should have all the top spots and holding the championship for half the year every year? Definitely not. Do I think there is better than Alexa Bliss? 100 million%. That doesn't mean I don't want to see her come back and get over her health woes. So we wish Alexa Bliss nothing but the best. And that's from a personal and professional standpoint. Ending off the opening credits, I just want to touch up on The Rock. I made a video earlier this week talking about how The Rock, the big story, man, it was all over the place. Any country you were in, man, you were hearing how The Rock slammed what was called his Generation Snowflake. I thought it was fucking brilliant. I gave The Rock credit, and I went on a 20-minute spiel of my own about how I feel about this generation. But then, the following night, The Rock came out on Instagram and Twitter, and he said, guys, that wasn't fully true. In fact, it was actually fabricated, and that's not how I feel, and it's not what I exactly said. And he went out and said the Daily, I believe it was the Daily Star that broke this in the UK. He said that they fabricated that shit. And that's not truthful. So the Amplified Man, the only way that I would go about business, the only right decision for me on this channel, I took the original video down, or at least put it on private. I never take a video down until I get all the facts. But I put that video on private out of respect for The Rock. Because even though most of that video was just me talking about how I feel about today's generation, which is nothing new. If you guys didn't catch that video, don't worry. You've heard me say these words before, and you're going to hear me say them again. I take none of my words back. The Rock is claiming he didn't say those words, and that's fine. And maybe he didn't. Or maybe he's taking them back. Who the fuck knows? The Amplified Man will never do such. But the reason I put that video on private until I found out more was because I owe that to The Rock. We have no reason to believe that The Rock is lying. In the Daily Star over in the UK, it's a tabloid magazine that brought that to light first. So they're usually scumbags anyway. So I felt out of respect to The Rock, as I would for anybody, I put that video on private because there was a couple of minutes in that video where I specifically talk about what The Rock supposedly said. And if he's saying that that is fabricated and that's untruthful, then I don't want that shit on my channel. So the update to that, guys, is as of the moment of this filming, maybe something has changed in the last 12 hours before it's actually uploaded, but as of the moment of this filming, the Daily Star has never come out with a rebuttal to The Rock, which leads me to believe that the Daily Star is a bunch of fucking dipshitted, lying, no good, good for nothing bullshit artists that came out and targeted the fucking Rock, put words in his mouth to sell their fucking magazines and try to make $1 on The Rock's back. That is a scumbag and a douchebag to the highest fucking degree. So in respect to The Rock, I keep that video private until I hear otherwise. That's the latest. They have never come out to dispute what The Rock said. What do you mean it's a lie? Bullshit. This person that works for us talked to you. We didn't get a name. We didn't get a rebuttal. We didn't get any type of retraction. We didn't get an apology. We got nothing. As of the moment of this filming, and by the time The Rock issued his statements, which was a fucking at least 16 hours ago from the moment of this filming, you had 16 hours to say I'm sorry or 16 hours to say you're lying. I call bullshit. I'm going to give The Rock the benefit of the doubt, and the video will remain private. And I made an update already, guys. My last video before this one was an update to that and why I took that video and put it on private. Some people were upset. BC, why you take it down, man? Come on, man. Just leave it up, man. Don't cave in like the other stuff. What are you talking about, cave? My words stand. I've said my words in that video before, and I'm going to say them again. And that video was doing exceptionally fucking well. Even though it was demonetized, people were finding that video. That's right, YouTube instantly demonetized that video, guys. Because it had to do with fucking going against today's fucking way of thinking. Going against Generation Snowflake. So they fucking instantly demonetized it. Which means they usually stop promoting it as well. But people still were able to find it. And I was astounded by the reception it was getting. Trust me, I would have loved to keep the video up. But out of respect, because a couple of minutes was discussed about The Rock's supposed comments, of course I'm going to take it down because that's just a lie. My words are cool, but if The Rock didn't say those words, then it's a lie. I'm not going to have fake news and fake shit on this channel. It's not going to happen. So if you were upset that the video was put on private, too fucking bad. This isn't just like, listen, if you take a video down or put on private because it wasn't received well and people were coming down on you, then you are a snowflake and you shouldn't be on YouTube. Absolutely. You should not have a channel if you're going to take your videos down because they're not received well or they're not doing as good as you thought. Bullshit. Then absolutely you have a gripe. The video was doing exceptionally well. Anybody who fucking watched that shit and saw the numbers it was doing could see that. But when you put something on private out of the respect of a person that is saying, hey, it's a lie, then respect that shit, man. That's the only, in the couple of years that I've had this channel, when do I take a video down? Let me think. Never! I don't, unless there's a reason. The Rock saying it was a fucking lie, his words, and I spoke about his words for several minutes in that video, that's enough for me to respect The Rock and not have fake shit on my channel. So, it sucks. A lot of you guys were pissed off because you just wanted to see it. I understand, but think about why I did it, guys. That's not fair to The Rock or anybody who was put in that position. So hopefully that sums it up, guys. That's the latest update. The Daily Star refuses to have a rebuttal, and they don't even comment on it on their social media. They're not responding to anybody. So they're just happy being the douchebags they are. They got a name for themselves. People are talking about them. They're not even gonna fucking apologize. Again, by the time this video uploads, I really hope that they gave an apology to The Rock. And even then, they're still scumbags and douchebags. I hope anybody in the UK that comes across the Daily Star, I believe it's called, I hope you never give it a second look, let alone pick it up and purchase it. It's bullshit. And there's no room for that. The Amplified Man, on the other hand, you guys know exactly how I feel about today's soft generation, and it makes me fucking sick. It's nauseating. And that's the opening credits. And we're already getting amplified. Let's get right into our featured scenes, guys, because there's a lot of show to go, and I don't want to waste any more fucking time. On to scene 1. Scene 1. Take 1. The 50-50 effect. Action! So, scene 1, guys, this is a topic that I love talking about. You guys hear me say in just about every video where I call WWE out on their faults, their problems, their issues. One of the first top things that needs to be fixed, creating larger-than-life characters. People we give a shit about, characters we want to invest in and see what the fuck happens to them. Characters that we know are badass, and it's gonna take somebody more badass to beat the aforementioned badass motherfucker. Somebody even bigger, badder, stronger, better than the guy we thought was already the best. But when those two collide, we got to not only give you our money, we willingly will do such because we are in anticipation. We can't wait to see these two individuals get it on. Warrior versus Hogan. Rock versus Austin. Matches like that where you captivate an entire fucking world. Let me ask you guys a serious question. We got some dream matches, right? Some, right? Because there's a lot of good athletic competitors out there. What matches like Warrior and Hogan and Austin and Rock? What matchup do you see right now with this main roster? Would you put up on that pedestal? What two individuals on the main roster would captivate you like Warrior and Hogan in their era and Rock and Austin in their era? You can't give me, man, you can give me a few what you would call just barely entering a dream match scenario, but it's not in that category, and I'm gonna tell you guys exactly why. It's because, first and foremost, what scene 1 is all about. The 50-50 butterfly effect. What is 50-50 booking, BC? Right? A lot of people don't really know the term, what is 50-50 booking? Guys, 50-50 booking is when WWE wants to cover their ass, so they make character A, performer A, and performer B, character B, they make them switch off on victories and losses, either in a storyline, a feud, or just for the character going forward. They have them win 2 weeks, lose 3 weeks, win 1 week, lose 2 weeks, win 4 weeks, lose 3 weeks. It's on, it's off, it's hot, it's cold. You never know who to get behind. You don't know if somebody is good or not. You don't know if somebody's really fucking talented or not in this business. Can they really live up to the expectations that we want to bestow upon them? Because we want to. We want to look at somebody and go, they're badass. I can get behind them. I want to get behind them because they're a winner. Nobody wants to back a loser. So as fans, we're always hesitant when we see new superstars. Should I get behind them? And why? Logical questions for a fan to ask. But when you're constantly 50-50 booking your superstars, then you're not really creating a superstar. You're barely a star. That's why I'm hesitant these days to call these performers, these wrestlers, superstars. Forget larger than life. We're nowhere near larger than life right now. Nobody on that main roster is larger than life. Nobody. Nobody is a Hulk Hogan, a Macho Man, a fucking Warrior, an Undertaker, an Austin, a Rock. Nobody's even close right now. So forget larger than life. Now let's just talk a tier lower. Let's talk superstar. Who the fuck is a superstar? I'm gonna tell you, zero. There is none. Because Vince McMahon, as Ryback has come out and said, and numerous people since Ryback has come out and admitted that Vince McMahon told his own performers within his company, the Suits and Ties, that nobody from here on out should be larger than the company. He doesn't want any more Hogans, any more Austins, not even any more Cenas. He doesn't want any one person being bigger than the company. And there's facts to back up that is absolutely what is happening. Every superstar is being 50-50 booked. Even his top talent. That's not how you build or even create a superstar. A superstar is created because they're winning the majority of their matches. And people on TV anyway, when we're viewing these superstars, or supposed superstars, we are watching something cool, something epic, somebody that's really good at what they're doing. So that when somebody comes up that's actual competition, we need to pay our money for the pay-per-view to watch what's going to happen. But if these guys are losing and these girls are losing every other week, what are we tuning in for? We're not going to get behind subpar talent. You can only create a superstar and build a character to such levels by giving them the platform and letting them steamroll through motherfuckers. They have to get momentum and collect victories. That's the only way the viewing audience, especially casual fans, man, and mainstream media fans that don't watch week to week and every time they tune in, a guy who's supposed to be a top dog is losing all the time. The viewing audience has to see somebody winning nonstop and another person winning nonstop. And when those forces collide, it's must see. But now what we see, guys, is 50-50 booking. Even, I'm going to go through some staggering numbers for you. You guys know I don't like to just talk on these videos and on this channel. I just don't like to give my opinion because what's the old saying, man? Opinions are like fucking assholes. Everybody's got one and they're usually full of shit. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be just opinion. So what I do is I do my facts. I do my research to back up what I'm saying. It feels like everybody's 50-50 booked. Why does it feel that way? Because I have the evidence to back up that it is 50-50 booking. That's exactly what's going on. Once again, the Amplified Man called it long ago, and once again, the Amplified Man was correct. Let's just start off with Seth Rollins. I have a little bracket here. Wins, losses. I want to go through the last 2 months of Seth Rollins' main roster fucking TV matchups. Okay, let's just go through the last 2 months. That's usually 2 months, 4 weeks in a month. 8 matches, basically, right? Give or take. So 8 matches we're going to do, and we're going to see if this is 50-50 booked. Seth Rollins, if you're talking who is the stars of WWE right now, the main roster, I'm sure we would all say Seth Rollins, right? Braun Strowman is nowhere near that. Braun Strowman was given the rocket, we were getting behind him, and then they gave him a 10-year-old tag team partner at WrestleMania. Yeah, that's realistic. So that ruined Braun first. Then they started building him up again, and then they ripped the rug from underneath him again because they wanted Roman to be the top dog, and they didn't want Braun to overshadow Roman. So what they did was they wanted to feed Braun to Roman, and that ruined Braun again. Then what happened to Roman happened, tragically, and again, we hope the best, nothing but the best for Joe, for Roman Reigns. But what happened was then they were like, shit, we invested all of our time, energy, and everything that we had in this company for the last 4 years into Roman Reigns. So what do we have left? Fuck, let's try to build Braun again for the 3rd time. And this time, fans weren't buying it. And then we just saw the promo he cut on Brock Lesnar this past Monday, and it's clear as day, Braun Strowman's not ready for that big spot anyway. But it doesn't matter because they're not booking him as such anyway. So Seth Rollins, once Roman Reigns hit the shelf, Seth Rollins is your only, on Monday Night Raw at least, especially, that's your star. And that's not saying a lot because WWE has not put any stock in him. So let's go over the facts. Has Seth Rollins been 50-50 booked the last 2 months? Let's go over the fucking facts, guys. Alright, so again, guys, what we're doing is we're going back to the last 8 televised Seth Rollins matches. And we're going to see if what I'm saying is just a theory, or is there 110% factual evidence to back it up. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to do this research together. I got nothing to hide. I don't come in front of these videos just to shoot the shit and give my opinion. I want to drop facts. So am I telling you guys the truth, or am I bullshitting? Well, let's look at not just a wrestler on the roster. Let's look at one of their top stars and how Vince wants to treat him as a superstar, or at least make us believe he is. But is he? Or is he just another 50-50 guy? So let's do it. I'll separate this. This is, again, his last 8 matches, guys. And if we do that, that's going to take us back to his first of the last 8, which was Tribute to the Troops, December 4th. I'll separate it into 2 different sets of 4, so we can break it up and talk about it after the first 4. But Tribute to the Troops, Rollins starts off good with his last 8 televised matches. He tags up with Styles, and they defeat Daniel Bryan and Dean Ambrose. So that's good. Right off the gate, you have a victory in his last 8. And he doesn't stop there. The next week on Raw, Rollins defeats Baron Corbin. This is heading into TLC, and he's got some momentum. 2 back-to-back victories. Unfortunately for him, at TLC on the big stage, he loses to Dean Ambrose. That's a pretty big fucking loss. The very next night on Raw, he's back to winning, and he defeats Baron Corbin. You guys noticing the redundancy here, by the way? Corbin, Rollins, every fucking week. But that's the first 4 of his last 8, guys. And it's actually decent. You have 3 victories and 1 loss. The 1 loss was pretty big. That was at TLC. But he's surrounded by victories. BC, I'm not seeing 50-50 booking. Not so fucking fast. We're not done. We have his last 4 to go. December 28th, Bobby Lashley defeats Seth Rollins. The very next week, Dean Ambrose defeats Seth Rollins. The very next week, this past Monday, in a 6-man tag, Rollins tags up with Cena and Balor to defeat Lashley, Ambrose, and McIntyre. But on that same night, in the main event, Ambrose defeats Seth Rollins. So his last 4, loss, victory. 4 and 4 in Seth Rollins' last 8 televised matches. That is what we call in the business 50-50 booking, guys. They do it with everybody, and even their supposed top stars. How are you supposed to back somebody who's not an actual winner? In fact, if you go through Seth Rollins' whole entirety with house shows, the entirety of his win-loss record, guys, this is staggering. It is 517 losses and 356 wins. The fuck out of here! 18 draws. Other matches probably not even accounted for. But statistically, if you look up his statistics, he's got 517 losses, 356 wins. His loss percentage is over 50%. 57.93. And then you wonder why we don't treat him like this larger-than-life star. It's because you didn't make him such. That's the truth, guys. 50-50 booking. 4 and 4 his last 8. And that's how he's always been. And if you look at his combined with house shows, it's even worse. And you want to talk worse, guys? Can I do another one for you? Can we do... This one will be fun. We will do Elias. Let's do Elias's wins and losses his last 8. If you don't mind. Because Elias should be fun because we talk about Seth Rollins and how he's supposed to be the star of the show. Well, you got a guy like Elias who easily could be. The guy's got all the tools. On the mic and in the ring. And his presence, his look, the vibe, the feel. And why has somebody like even the Amplified Man decided last Monday that I'm no longer walking with Elias? When just a few months ago we said This guy still has a chance if you just book him correctly. Get out of the 50-50 mindset. Did they do that? Let's look at his last 2 months. The last 8 televised matches for Elias go a little something like this. November 12th, Bobby Lashley defeats Elias. November 19th, Corbin, Lashley, and McIntyre defeat Elias. The next week, Bobby Lashley, once again, defeats Elias. The next week, Elias and Balor defeat Lashley and McIntyre. So that's the first 4 of his last 8. And so far we have loss, 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 win. That's how you book a superstar. 3 losses, 1 victory. Hold on. There's 4 more matches to go. If he sweeps them all, he's a little bit out of 50-50 booking. Hey, that's a plus. Let's see. We go on to December 10th. Lio Rush defeats Elias. December 16th. TLC, tables, ladders, and chairs. Elias pulls a victory over Bobby Lashley. The next night on Raw, another victory over Lashley. This past Monday, middle of the ring, flat on his back, loses to Baron Corbin. So his last 4, loss, loss, victory, victory. 5-3 over his last 8. That's worse than 50-50 booking. And that's a guy you give all this airtime to. But when it counts the most, and even the casual fans and the mainstream media fans are going to tune in to watch an Elias match, and he's always flat on his back. What the fuck are you doing for Elias? That is worse than 50-50 booking. That is 5 losses and 3 wins. And guys, I'm just going over the last couple of months with these motherfuckers. I dread to go any further. But I have, by the way. I mean, that's how I do my research. And trust me, it's fucking absolutely dreadful. Can I do one more for you guys? Of course, it's my fucking podcast. I can go as long as I want. I can go 3 fucking hours. I want to do one more for you guys. Let me just clean off this board, if you don't mind. I'd like to do one more. Because this is telling. We talk about a guy like Elias, who has all the fucking tools to be a star, but they just won't allow it. They won't give him the fucking... They won't give him the victories. They won't build him up. They won't build momentum. For some reason, they just hold him down like everyone else. And we know again why. Like Ryback has come out and said, and multiple people after Ryback, that Vince McMahon doesn't want anybody being bigger than the company. But that is hurting the company catastrophically. I promise you. But this guy, man, this is a guy known as Andrade Cien Almas. I promise you this says Almas. Andrade Cien Almas. Wins, losses. And guys, this is absolutely tragic. You guys are going to see something insane here. When I did my research, I knew this was bad. I didn't know it was this tragic. I always make fun of it on SmackDown Live. Like, whoa, he got a win. But there's a reason I do. It's because it really is like looking outside at night and catching a shooting star. It's that rare when Almas wins a match. So let's go over his last... Guys, if you don't mind, I want to go over Almas' last 12 matches. Is that cool? I'll go through it quick. We'll separate it into 3 different batches of 4. His last 12 would go back to August 21st. Why? Because they book him so badly that he's off TV for weeks and even months at a time. There's been 2 different hiatuses of a month. Well, let's go back to August 21st. Loss to Lana and Rusev. Next week, loss to Daniel Bryan. Next week, loss to Daniel Bryan. Next week, a victory. They threw him a victory over R-Truth. So the first 4 of 12 is a loss, 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 victory. This is a former NXT champion and one of the brightest stars from NXT. A guy who has everything that you could ask for in a superstar. The mic game isn't the strongest, but he's got the perfect mouthpiece in Zelina Vega. His look, his feel, his vibe, his skill set and moveset, second to none. Not only is he a flipper and diver, but he's got an incredible ground game, and his area assault is to match. The guy can do it all. And again, Zelina Vega, the perfect mouthpiece. And that's how you book him. The first 4 of his last 12 matches televised. 3 losses and a win. So how's the next 4 going to go? Don't hold your breath. It doesn't get any fucking better. The next 4 go like this. September 18th, loss against AJ Styles. Next week, loss against Carmella and R-Truth. Next week, loss against Rey Mysterio. Next week, loss against Jeff Hardy. So the next 4, I can't even give you a victory. It's loss, 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 loss. A full month of losses. Such bad tragic booking that in fact after that loss to Hardy, he was off TV for over another month. They had nothing for the motherfucker. Slight injuries maybe fucking contribute to a week or 2, but then, they told him, stay out for a bit. We don't got anything yet. So when he comes back, you're hoping over a month-long hiatus. The guy's last 8 matches, man, he was 2-4-7-1. 7 losses. When he comes back, surely they're going to give him something, right? Haha, not so fast. He comes back after over a month. A Mustafa Ali loss. A guy named Mustafa Ali comes out of nowhere and beats Andrade Cien Almas. The very next week, Styles and Mustafa Ali defeat Almas and Daniel Bryan. The next week, Becky Lynch and John Cena defeat Almas and Vega. And then this past Tuesday, a fucking miracle. When Almas won a match when he was tagged up with Samoa Joe. They beat Mustafa Ali and Rey Mysterio. So his last 4 was 1 victory and loss, loss, loss. Thank goodness, that's it. I have no more room for losses, guys. 10 losses and 2 victories for Almas in his last 12 televised matches. That shatters the 50-50 theory, but only because they're even worse with people Vince McMahon has no idea what to do with. That's the only time you'll see him exit the 50-50 booking mentality. Is when he really just either doesn't like you or doesn't know what to do with you. Then you're only going to get worse than 50-50. You're never going to be over 50-50, I assure you. 10 losses, guys. I ran out of room. You look at like Steve Austin's last 8 matches. I'm telling you, I do my research all over the place. Steve Austin, this is when he was still fucking rocking, man. His last matchups, 2002, 2003-ish, they were his last 8 matches. In a row, his last 8, all right? Monday Night Raws were including in this, and then you had also Saturday Night's Main Event was included, Judgment Day, so there were some pay-per-views. His last 8, he was 7-1. 7-1, and that only loss was from The Rock, who was another superstar that was always fucking winning. 7-1 his last 8. That's how you maintain a superstar. Sure, Stone Cold was going to get over on his own, but how do you make him larger than life? The booking. You have to book him. If you tell me that Austin wasn't booked beautifully during the Attitude Era, I'll call you a fucking idiot. They booked him beautifully. You have to give Vince Russo and McMahon, for okaying it, credit as well. Austin's a great character. He can't just run amok in WWE. He's got to be booked correctly, and he was. And part of great booking is wins and losses, and knowing when to eat an L, and collecting momentum and wins. That's how they did it back in the day. Hogan wasn't losing all the time. Warrior, Savage, Austin, Rock, Taker. Nowadays, everybody's losing, and I just presented multiple cases and difference in superstars. Guys who are already at the top, like Rollins. Guys like Elias, who could be. Guys like Almas, that should be. And the booking is tragic, guys. So I wanted the first scene in today's podcast to really show you what I mean when I say larger than life. Because I say it on every video, and I think you guys just think that's redundant now. Oh, he's just saying larger than life. But does BC even really know what that means? I mean, like, how can you really make somebody larger than life? I think it's just by chance. I think it's luck. Bullshit. It's all on how you book a motherfucker. Now, clearly, absolutely, you have to have a guy with the it factor. It has to be somebody who who captivates us anyway. No question. But once you find that person, and they have that it factor, you have to book them to the moon. I'm not saying they never eat an L. They never lose. Absolutely not. That's not pro wrestling. But you have to know when to lose, when to make them lose. You have to pick and choose your battles. You have to know when to have that superstar lose. They should be eating, when you have somebody who is a capable superstar, somebody who absolutely could be an actual superstar, you have to book them with wins, man. They have to win 80% of their matches at least. Fuck 50-50. 80 at least they should be winning. Their losses should be sporadically, very periodically, man. Every other fucking month, they should maybe get one loss, if that. And that's when even your casuals and your mainstream fans are going to be like, wow, this motherfucker's the real deal, man. He's bad. He don't fucking lose. He's a winner. I want to back a winner. Who the fuck wants to back losers? When the casuals and the mainstream media fans, they tune in and they constantly see the guy who's supposed to be over, the guy who's supposed to be the star, and he's always losing all the time. Of course they're not going to back him through. And the diehard fans? What the fuck are we going to back a loser for? I love, all of this stems, guys, from what Cody Rhodes said at the AEW event, the rally last week, when he said wins and losses are going to mean everything in AEW. And then you had Tony Khan. Tony Khan, who's the fucking, the son of the owner that runs this whole thing, the owner of the Jaguars, Shahid Khan. And Tony is his son, and he's going to be one of the main focal points in leadership for AEW. And Tony came out in an interview, and Tony said, he reiterated what Cody said, and I loved it. He said, wins and losses are going to mean everything, because to me, winning is what the sport is about. Like, sure, it's entertainment as well, but without wins, you're not legitimizing anything. And pro wrestling deserves to be legitimized, because it is some of the best athleticism that you could find today in the world. Tony Khan's statements were fucking epic. I loved it. Wins and losses are going to mean everything in AEW, and it just makes me think, like, if the past 7 to 10 years, Vince McMahon, if they meant anything to Vince, we could have larger-than-life stars today, maybe. We'll never know, because they're booked like shit, and Vince doesn't want anybody to be larger than his company. Unless your name is Roman Reigns, you're not going to get shit. And that whole thing backfired in his face. And now we're left with what? And he still continues, as we saw this past Monday, to 50-50 book motherfuckers. Boggles my fucking mind. But it shouldn't. We should expect this now from Vince and WWE. But you guys want to know where building larger-than-life characters starts? It starts at the booking process. Make sure you're not 50-50ing them. Make sure there's a clear, distinctive viewpoint on if somebody is a winner or if they're a loser. Because people will not back losers. Let's move on to Scene 2. This is a fun one, man. I've wanted to do this for a while. I said, why not on a fucking podcast format? We're going to have some fun with mic drop promos, man. The promos that shocked the shit out of us, man. And they came out of nowhere. Like a fucking RKO, these promos hit us out of nowhere. We were glued to our fucking seats and glued our eyes to the television. Shocking the hell out of us. So, yeah, let's get right into Scene 2. Scene 2. Take 1. Top 5 promos. Action. So, in Scene 2, guys, as you can see, this is kind of something I've wanted to do for a while now. I always get asked, what's my favorite promos? And I've touched up on this in videos past. I think it was like Q&A videos that I used to do. But when you think about a special category of promos, and I just call them mic drop shock promos. Those are the promos that break down the fourth wall a bit. Those are the promos that break down kayfabe a bit. And it brings reality into the ring or into the promo, into the feud. And I love shit like that. And that's why when Seth Rollins just the other week came into that ring and he started talking about how the product sucks and how the ratings are down and the attendance is down and the morale is down. And everybody, there was kind of a split. Oh, he's He's mocking us, some people thought. I'm thinking, if that's mocking, give me more of that. And then other people saw it for what it was, bringing a real-life situation into a promo. Is it necessarily going to get fixed? Probably not. Who knows if it ever will be in this fucking company. But they brought a real-life situation into the promo. I love shit like that. And they've done that a handful or two handfuls of times. And there's 5 that I can think of off the top of my head. And that's why they make the top 5. If there's others that I am not going to mention in this top 5, maybe I forgot or maybe they just didn't make the list. But feel free to put them down below in the comments. And maybe I'll go back and watch them. But these are the 5 that if you listen to them, and if you remember, if you can think back, if you were around for that time frame, in that era, you think back, you take yourself back, and you listen to the words, it is impossible not to get the goosebumps from them. I'm going to start at number 5 and work my way to what I feel is the best mic drop shock promo of all time. The one that broke the kayfabe factor, broke the fourth wall down. I'll start with number 5, and this was epic. This was Joey Styles. At the time, Jim Ross was out at the commentary booth. Joey Styles was filling in for him, and he was next to Jerry Lawler. The problem is, Jerry Lawler never liked ECW, especially people like Joey Styles. So there was a clash. It was entertaining as all hell, but in real life, Lawler didn't like this group of people. Anybody from ECW. That was just real life, guys. They were cordial, obviously, and they put up their shtick for entertainment purposes on commentary, but in real life, Joey Styles had a lot to get off his chest, and they allowed him to do such in a promo. I'm going to let you guys listen for yourselves for just a few minutes. I apologize if audio isn't the greatest. As for legal reasons, I can't give you the actual clip, but here's a few minutes of that mic drop shock promo that Joey Styles cut, and this is why it's number 5, because it was fucking beautifully put out there to the world by Joey Styles. Check it out.
You want to apologize like nothing happened, like you didn't knock me on my ass in front of millions of people worldwide, and I'm going to come down there and work with you. I'm not coming back. And now, thanks to the magic of live television, I'm going to show the whole world why for 7 years in ECW, I was the unscripted, uncensored, loose cannon of commentary. 6 months ago, WWE called me. I didn't call this company because I was looking for a job. I didn't need a job. WWE called me because they had humiliated and fired again Jim Ross. So I get JR's spot. And from week 1, week after week, I've got an ongoing lecture about the differences in professional wrestling and sports entertainment. I'm not allowed to say pro wrestling. I'm not allowed to say wrestler. I have to say sports entertainment and refer to the wrestlers as superstars. I'm told to deliberately ignore the moves and the holds during the matches so I can tell stories. Well, ignoring the moves and the holds is damn insulting to the athletes, the wrestlers, not the entertainers, who leave their families 300 days a year to ply their craft in that ring. There's the best part. Because I'm not a sports entertainment storyteller, I get pulled from WrestleMania. And the reason I'm giving is because I don't sound like Jim Ross, who's the guy they fired in the first place. That makes sense, right? So I swallow the bitter pill. I'm a company guy. I get bumped from WrestleMania. Then I get bumped from Backlash. I'm not good enough to call Backlash. me down. Wasn't done before me, hasn't been done since. But I'm not good enough to call backlash because I'm not a sports entertainment storyteller. Well, you know what? I am sick of sports entertainment. I am sick of male cheerleaders. I am sick of boogers and bathroom humor and semen, and I am sick of our chairman who likes to talk about his own semen. He mocks God, and makes out with the divas, all to feed his own insatiable ego. I am sick of sports entertainment. And most of all, I'm sick of you fans who actually buy into that crap, this sports entertainment circus. I never needed this job, and I don't want this job anymore. I quit.
And that's why I honestly love that promo from Joey Styles, guys. It's you have a guy who knows he's so fucking good at what he does, yet he has this guy, Vince McMahon, constantly in his ear, in his headset, telling him the million things that Vince thinks he's doing wrong. That's not how ECW, that's not how Joey Styles operates business. And we know that that's what happens in real life. Vince McMahon is constantly in your ear, yelling at you and never happy. We heard it firsthand from Taz. We heard Mick Foley tell us that. We've heard Jerry Lawler, Jim Ross. We'll hear Michael Cole say that when his commentary career is dead and gone. Vince is never happy. He's always in your ear, telling you to do something different, not to say this, don't do this. Frustrating doesn't even begin to describe how Joey Styles was feeling. And on top of that, he's sitting next to a guy who in real life doesn't like anybody from ECW. On top of that, there was a plethora of other reasons, as Joey Styles aforementioned, that were just bottling up in him. And WWE, Vince McMahon, don't get it twisted, gave him that opportunity to cut that promo. But also don't get it twisted, that was not a word-for-word scripted promo like we get in today's wrestling. In today's WWE, every word is scripted. Not that one. That had bullet points. But Joey Styles had the freedom to go out there and let loose all of what was bottled up. And he damn well did it. Goosebumps, man. I love that promo. And that brings us into number 4. When you think Joey Styles, he kind of goes hand in hand with Paul Heyman, his old boss in ECW. And now the protege and advocate for Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman, you can pick probably a couple of handfuls of real-life type promos. Shock mic drop type promos. Breaking kayfabe promos. Breaking down the fourth wall promos from Paul Heyman. But my favorite from Paul Heyman, and there was that ECW one night stand one too that he was cutting on JBL and everybody when they were up in the fucking rafters. But it's the one he cut on SmackDown. Paul Heyman cut a promo on Vince McMahon right in front of Vince. Vince came into the ring, and Vince McMahon allowed Paul Heyman to shred him to pieces. This was on SmackDown. Live TV, I want to say. I don't think it was taped. It could have been, but this was on SmackDown. It aired. It's out there for the world. Again, sorry for any audio troubles. I can't actually, for legal purposes, actually show you the clip. But I do want you guys to hear several minutes of this promo before I talk about it a little bit more. This is number 4 on my mic drop shock promo list. And this is Paul Heyman cutting a promo on Vince McMahon. And this was done in a way that at least at that time, nobody had ever laid into Vince McMahon and told the truth bombs that Paul Heyman cut on Vince to that point. Not even Bret Hart and all the shoot promos that he cut on Vince. This was everything that everybody wanted to say to Vince probably, and Paul Heyman was allowed the platform to do such. I'll shut up about it. You guys take a few minutes to listen to some of this promo, and then we'll come right back here and talk about it.
You are, so help me God, the most disgusting, vile son of a I've ever seen in my life. You took Hulk Hogan's blood and you built Titan Towers. You stole Bret Hart's dream, and with that money, bought yourself an airplane with WWF all over it. You did that, and you know it, you son of a... You stole Shawn Michaels' smile, took your company public, and made yourself a billionaire. But not a self-made billionaire like you like to tell everybody you are. Oh, no. See, you're a billionaire on other people's hard work. Your father, Vince McMahon, your father went around the country and shook the hand of every... No, you know I'm telling the truth, don't you? You know in your heart I'm telling you the truth, that your father shook the hand of every promoter in this country and swore to them that he'd never compete against them, that his son would never compete against them. And when your father died, you competed. And with your ruthless, merciless, take no prisoners attitude, you drove everybody out of business, didn't you, Vince? You ran all the competition to the ground and you stole all their ideas and you made yourself a billionaire out of it. And you know whose ideas you stole the most, Vince? You stole mine. See, I don't give a damn about Don Owen and Sam Muchnick and Jim Crockett. I care about what you did to me and my family. How you stole my dreams. How you stole my legacy. How you stole everything that ECW represented. Because while Doink the Clown had a green hair and a rubber nose, Stone Cold Steve Austin was drinking his first beer in ECW, damn you. While Bobby Heenan and Gene Okerlund were dancing around singing Tutti Frutti, ECW was producing the edgy TV that you named Attitude. Oh, we got attitude. You got nothing, man. What you got is my ideas, and you stole my life, my money, my legacy. Screw you and your family. I'll tell you something, your own children hate your guts. And on Sunday, your children are gonna get even with you for everything that you stole from me, for everything that you stole from them. You flaunt your affairs in front of your wife. You flaunt your affairs in Playboy for your children to read. You... Look at Taz! Look at Taz! This man was a killer. He was a machine. He was a wrestler. A great wrestler, a real man. But wrestling's a dirty word to you, isn't it, Vince? Your father built a wrestling company, and you had to have sports entertainment. We had to have sports entertainment. Ha ha ha. He was a wrestler. He was a great wrestler. He was a man. And now he's a fat, little, obnoxious color commentator, and not even a good one. He is a sports entertainer. He is not a wrestler, because you made wrestling a dirty word. You made wrestling a dirty word, Vince. What kind of man are you?
Fucking Paul Heyman, man. Just, when it's all said and done, one of the best talkers in this business. If you had a Mount Rushmore of promo cutters, and it was just anybody in the industry, it doesn't have to necessarily be a pro wrestler. If Paul Heyman isn't in your Mount Rushmore of best talkers in the business, man, I don't know who your four is then. I don't know if I want to know who your four. Paul Heyman has cut so many epic promos that it's hard to choose your favorite. But I was forced to do such for the purposes of this video, and that's the one I came out with, guys. If you guys got an awesome Paul Heyman one that you remember that was more mic drop shock, breaking down the fourth wall, breaking down that kayfabe, let me know down below, man. I love to check them out. But that was just epic. It really was. There's only 3 promos for what the style that we're going with right now, mic drop shot type style, breaking down that kayfabe fourth wall, there's only 3 others that top that for me. And we'll go right into number 3 because we can talk about Paul Heyman for another hour and a half on this podcast. But we'll go into number 3, and this is AJ Lee. And this obviously makes my list because you guys know how important this promo was. If you've watched this channel for a long time, not even just from day one, but for a while, you know how I feel about this promo. This is really when the revolution for the women really started. Everybody likes to say that their favorite diva or favorite women's wrestler started the revolution. Or then they like to be PC about it and say, every female that's ever been associated with pro wrestling started the revolution. No, the truth, guys, is if you actually did your research and you looked up the word revolution, there's actually a dictionary with the word revolution and what it means. It means somebody going against the establishment, going against the government operation, whoever your bosses are, whoever the leaders are, and you're going against them. Well, if that's the case, there's only one woman at that time when that revolution started. It was AJ Lee. And it all started with a pipe bomb of sorts, where we were all getting fed up with total divas. We were all getting fed up with so much of the crap that the women's division had turned into. I mean, at that point, you know what? We can go on a whole nother fucking sidetrack. Let's just keep it at this, guys, because I want to make this kind of short and sweet and get right to the AJ Lee promo. Let's just say we were fed up beyond belief with what the women had come to, man, in this whole divas thing. There was a time where women's wrestling was actually respected, believe it or not. And then this divas thing kind of went off the rails. They were in left field with a hockey stick. AJ Lee was the first one to come out, given the platform, and she nailed all her bullet points. She nailed her marks, and she delivered the message heard round the world. We are fed up with divas. She is not going to be one. She is going to go against them, and they aren't in her league. I loved it. The promo stands the test of time until this very day, at least on the Amplify Man's list. I'm telling you right now, it is top 3. And they only struggled with the top fucking 3 because the 2 that are in front of her, really fucking epic for many reasons. And I'll get to those other 2. But she played around, in my mind, with that number 2 spot. Definitely not the first spot. That belongs where it is. But I had a little bit of a hard time anyway with the flipping of 2 and 3. That's how good AJ Lee's pipe bomb promo to the divas actually was. I'm going to shut up about it. I'm going to let you guys listen to a few minutes of this, and then we're going to come right back and talk about it.
OMG, you guys. I just watched last night's episode of Total Divas, and it was insane. Oh my gosh. I mean, the Bellas were dealing with their obvious daddy issues. The Funkadactyls broke up and then got back together again. Natalia's fiance isn't much of a man. And the other 2 were also there. It was great. It really was. And it was the end of the world. And it's only Sunday nights on the E! Network. Do you want to know what I see when I look in that ring? Honestly. A bunch of cheap, interchangeable, expendable, useless women. Women who have turned to reality television because they just weren't gifted enough to be actresses. And they just weren't talented enough to be champion. I have done more in 1 year than all of you have done in your entire collective careers. I have saved your Divas division. I breaking down doors. Why? So a bunch of ungrateful, stiff plastic mannequins can waltz on through without even as much as a thank you? You just skip! You guys can't even go backstage and shake my hand and look me in the eye because you know that I worked my entire life to get here. I gave my life to this, and you were just handed 15 minutes of fame. I didn't get here because I was cute, or because I came from some famous wrestling family, or because I sucked up to the right people. I got here because I am good. I earned this championship, and no matter how many red carpets you guys want to walk in your $4,000 ridiculous heels, you will never be able to lace up my Chuck Taylors. You're all worthless excuses for women, and you will never be able to touch me. And that is reality.
So fucking cool. So cool, man, to see AJ Lee doing her thing, and wham, that started the wheels in motion for what was to come. AJ Lee never went back on any of her words either. She never joined any Divas cast. She never wanted a Divas championship. She always said what she wanted from day one, a women's championship. She never wanted to be looked at as a diva, just a pro wrestler. And look where we are today. And I've said it a million times. It's a damn shame AJ Lee was not a part of all these WWE firsts for the women. When you're talking Hell in a Cell matches, Royal Rumble matches, possible main event of Wrestle, who the fuck knows? First ever all-women's pay-per-view, Evolution. AJ Lee, nowhere to be found. And you go back into the archives, the Amplified Man doesn't forget shit like that. A lot of people might in today's wrestling society and wrestling community. We live in a week-to-week, day-to-day type world now. You know, it's instant gratification, and we're soon to forget other things. And Vince McMahon wants us to forget week to week so he can keep giving us redundant shit. I don't forget like that. I'm not going to. AJ Lee's pipe bomb promo to those divas, man. That did so much for this industry. Not just for AJ Lee, I assure you. And that's why that's so high up on my list at 3. Number 2, again, I struggled flipping 2 and 3, but 2 I felt had so much importance. But on top of that, was so fucking shocking to me. And that was Roman Reigns face-to-face at a contract signing, I believe it was, with John Cena. And this was before their, I want to say, WrestleMania match. And this was huge because Vince made a catastrophic mistake here. Roman was supposed to be his new big dog. Roman was supposed to be his new top player. He was pushing him for years even before that. He's scheduled to beat John Cena and keep getting pushed. Vince had a bright idea that wasn't so fucking bright to put Roman in a promo battle, a shoot style, breaking kayfabe type promo battle with one of the kings at such, John Cena. And let's just say it backfired like we all knew it would, and Vince found out it would. There was a time in this promo, guys, where Roman literally forgot what he had to say to John Cena, because Cena looks at Kurt Angle and totally sidetracks Roman. Roman starts his promo, John Cena stops Roman after Roman says John Cena just sucks. Cena stops Roman and also says, Kurt Angle, who's in the ring at the time, says, they also said he sucked and he did pretty well for himself. This totally got and shook Roman Reigns off his game to the point where he forgot what he was going to say. And this is how fucking ruthless, from the ruthless aggression era, John Cena was. Cena steps up to Roman and says, Come on, kid. It's called a promo. If you're really gonna truly be the big dog, you're gonna have to learn how to do them in front of a live crowd and millions, if WWE Raw even had millions at the time. They definitely don't anymore. But millions at the time on fucking national TV. John Cena blew up Vince McMahon's, or was supposedly supposed to be the next big dog for Vince McMahon. John Cena disintegrated him in 3 seconds. The promo was already off the hook because they were bringing reality into it. Everybody was talking about how John Cena had the golden shovel and buried superstars. Everybody was talking about how Roman can't cut promos as it was, and Roman isn't quite fit to be the next top superstar. And they both brought all of it into the promo. But the extra layer of reality, fucking goosebumps. Shutting up, you guys check it out. We'll come back and talk about it. Number 2 on the Mic Drop Shock promo list for the Amplified Man, John Cena and Roman Reigns, face to face.
You may not understand this because probably no one's ever told you this before, John. But you're not as big of a deal as you think you are. And this is the fact. I don't care what you've done or what you plan to do. I've done something you'll never do. I retired The Undertaker at WrestleMania. So maybe it's not that I don't want to fight you. Maybe I just don't need to.
You're right. No, he's right. He's right. You don't need to fight me. You are the high exalted Roman Reigns. You are the big dog. Everybody back there knows it. Everybody out here still kind of trying to figure it out. You see, Roman, I'm what you would call a polarizing figure. Every week there are people that cheer because they stand for what I believe in. And then there are people that boo because they don't. And then every single week you can audibly hear those people so desperately wanting me to change the content of my character. Maybe a little heel turn. But with you, it's different. I don't know if anyone's ever told you this. They go back and forth with you because when they look at you, they see what I see. A cheap-ass, corporately created John Cena bootleg. This chump right here, he ain't the guy. Dude, you're just a guy. A guy trying so desperately to fill shoes that you never will. Listen carefully, young man. I'm not the Undertaker. I'm not a battered veteran at the end of his career with a bad hip. I am the fastest, strongest, and hungriest that I have ever been in my entire life. And the reason you won't sign that is because you know if you do, your Roman Empire
He did it again. He's the king of this. He can take anything and spin it. That's what he does. But it blows my mind that he stands out here and he runs his mouth and he's talking about y'all boo him because y'all want him to be a bad guy. They boo you because first of all, you suck.
Hey, according to them, so does he, but that's okay. He won a gold medal.
Just shut up for a while. How about that? And second of all,
go ahead, find it. Go ahead. I'll wait. It's called a promo,
Shut
kid.
your
And
mouth,
if you want to
John.
be the big dog, you're going to have to learn how to do it. So go ahead. See ya, fourth wall.
the reason why they boo you is because they see right through you. You're a phony. You're a yes man who can learn how to do anything or be anything. So if you wrap all that up, you're just a fake bitch. Oh, we're talking now, ain't we? Yeah, you're hearing me now, ain't you? Not only that, he's a part-timing fake-ass bitch. And I'll be damned if I don't bust my ass Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, every single week so you can hang out on the Today Show. Then jump on his big old bus. And hell, maybe I'll come to a WWE show if they pay me enough. But what are you really gonna do, John? What are you gonna do, huh? You're gonna jump off that bus with that big ass shuffle. That big shovel. That's what you're gonna do, and you're gonna bury as much young talent as you can. Because that's what you do, right? That's how you stay on top of the mountain.
Absolutely awesome, man. If that's not in your top 5 for mic drop shock promos, breaking down kayfabe and the fourth wall, again, as I said a couple times, I want to know your top 5 then. Because maybe I should be going back and looking at other promos that totally rocked the wrestling world by bringing in reality. Because that was really fucking cool on so many levels. I do want to make a correction, guys. I said that was heading into WrestleMania. While that is a WrestleMania caliber match, obviously, Cena and Reigns, I believe that was actually headed into No Mercy at the time. Because that was done in August, after SummerSlam, heading into, I believe, No Mercy. If I am correct. I know that wasn't WrestleMania. That promo, anyway. So, just want to make a little correction. It doesn't really matter, because that was just fucking epic. There could only be one promo for the Amplified Man to top that by bringing in reality, by breaking down the fourth wall, and that's the guy who really started that phrase. And it's a guy who, if you watch this channel religiously, you guys know I'm not very fond of, because I believe in real life he is a douchebag, not just an asshole. I can respect an asshole. I'm an asshole, the boogeyman and the bad guy. But when you're just a douchebag, and this guy has done a lot of douchebaggery things, so that's why I call him out a lot, but I always tell you guys, I call it down the middle, and if somebody is owed respect and is due their due justice and due diligence, and they're owed credit, I'm going to give them such. I don't care if I like them or don't like them. I'm going to give them credit where it's due. And number one, I think on everybody's list has to be, I mean, I don't want to speak for me. It definitely is for me, but I don't see how it would be number one for everybody. And that's CM Punk's promo that he cut in Vegas when he told John Cena, who was left for dead in the middle of the ring, I'm showing up to, what was it? Money in the Bank, was it? I'm showing up. I don't know if it was Money in the Bank. What the fuck was it? Whatever it was, man. I'm showing up. I'm taking the WWE title, and I'm leaving. I don't know where I'm going to show up. Maybe I'll show up in Ring of Honor. Maybe fucking New Japan. Who the fuck knows? And he turns. He says, hey, Colt Cabana. This is when him and Cabana were still buddies. And he says, oops, I'm breaking down the fourth wall. And this is all shit that the casual fan is probably like, what the fuck is going on? But if you know pro wrestling, you know shit is being said that we don't usually hear. Some of it we've never heard. And it made it really cool, an extra layer of coolness. And here's why, guys. Because it was at a time where we desperately wanted, we desperately needed somebody to latch onto and say, I'm with them. I'm gonna ride their coattails to the championship and beyond. We need larger than life. We'll take CM Punk if he's gonna drop mic drops like that. We'll take CM Punk if he's gonna bring reality in like that. And the famous pipe bomb word. Pipe bombs really became a thing once CM Punk dropped that promo. Then we started talking about pipe bombs. Well, we said, shit. If Punk's gonna be the outlaw like that, we've been craving, at that point in time, we've been craving somebody like Steve Austin. Well, shit, Punk was the closest thing to it. When Monday Night Raw went off the air, they cut CM Punk's mic, storyline-wise, and he was yelling, I'm silenced, they're silencing me. And we faded to black, and we all were glued to our fucking seats like you were in a movie theater and just saw a shocking ending to a 2-hour-long movie. You couldn't move from your seat. We had to find out what happens next. I can speak for every wrestling fan when I say that promo and the months afterwards, at a time where WWE's product was sinking like the Titanic, bigger than and faster than ever, that time period was a saving grace. That time period lifted all of our morale and spirits. And we thought maybe, just maybe, there's hope for this fucking company. I'll give Punk his credit, man. He helped engineer that whole fucking thing. That promo was brilliant. Listen to it for a few minutes. Come back and talk about it.
I don't hate you, John. I don't even dislike you. I do like you. I like you a hell of a lot more than I like most people in the back. I hate this idea that you're the best. Because you're not. I'm the best. I'm the best in the world. There's one thing you're better at than I am, and that's kissing Vince McMahon's ass. You're as good as kissing Vince's ass as Hulk Hogan was. I don't know if you're as good as Dwayne, though. He's a pretty good ass kisser. Always was and still is. Oops, I'm breaking the fourth wall. I am the best wrestler in the world. I've been the best ever since day one when I walked into this company, and I've been vilified and hated since that day because Paul Heyman saw something in me that nobody else wanted to admit. That's right, I'm a Paul Heyman guy. You know who else was a Paul Heyman guy? Brock Lesnar. And he split just like I'm splitting, but the biggest difference between me and Brock is I'm going to leave with the WWE Championship. Vincent K. McMahon's imaginary brass rings that it's finally dawned on me that they're just that. They're completely imaginary. The only thing that's real is me and the fact that day in and day out for almost 6 years I have proved to everybody in the world that I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even in commentary. Nobody can touch me. And yet, no matter how many times I prove it, I'm not on your lovely little collector cups. I'm not on the cover of the program. I'm barely promoted. I don't get to be in movies. I'm certainly not on any crappy show on the USA Network. I'm not on the poster of WrestleMania. I'm not in the signature that's produced at the start of the show. I'm not on Conan O'Brien, I'm not on Jimmy Fallon, but the fact of the matter is I should be, and trust me, this isn't sour grapes, but the fact that Dwayne is in the main event of WrestleMania next year and I'm not makes me sick. Oh, and hey, let me get something straight. Those of you who are cheering me right now, You are just the biggest part of me leaving as anything else. Because you're the ones that are sipping out of those collector cups right now. You're the ones that buy those programs that my face isn't on the cover of. And then at 5 in the morning at the airport, you try to shove it in my face so you can get an autograph and try to sell it on eBay because you're too lazy to go get a real job. I'm leaving with the WWE Championship on July 17th, and hell, who knows, maybe I'll go defend it in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Maybe I'll go back to Ring of Honor. Hey, Colt Cabana, how you doing? The reason I'm leaving is you people, because after I'm gone, you're still gonna pour money into this company. I'm just a spoke on the wheel. The wheel's gonna keep turning, and I understand that. But Vince McMahon's going to make money to spite himself. He's a millionaire who should be a billionaire. You know why he's not a billionaire? It's because he surrounds himself with glad-handing, nonsensical yes men like John Laurinaitis, who's going to tell him everything that he wants to hear. And I'd like to think that maybe this company will be better after Vince McMahon's dead. But the fact is, it's going to get taken over by his idiotic daughter and his doofus son-in-law and the rest of his stupid family. Let me tell you a personal story about Vince McMahon, all right? Can we do this whole bully camp?
So yeah, for the Amplified Man, whether you like him or don't like him, love him or hate him, CM Punk is obviously at the top of that list, man. That was at a time, again, where we needed that, man. And it really gave a kick in the ass to the WWE product and company at large, because it needed it. And we hoped that it would last, but it didn't. Today, now more than ever, every fucking promo is word for word scripted. I'm surprised they even let Seth Rollins do what he did a couple weeks ago and bring the real-life problems that WWE is having into the ring, into his promo, but that just opened the door for Vince McMahon to lie to everybody and say that big change is coming. Man, those reality type... I'm not saying you have to play into the reality era necessarily, but when you do break down that fourth wall, when you bring in some real shit that we know about a superstar or we know about between two individuals, it gives it an extra layer that we can give a fuck about. At a time right now in WWE where we barely can give a fuck about any storyline or feud. But if you had a kick-ass storyline or feud and on top of that, another layer of it was it got real personal to the point that the fourth wall's broken down, you know that what is being said now is actually some real life shit. You're at the edge of your seat a lot more. You're in tune now, right? There ain't no bathroom break. You ain't getting up to get ice cream. You're not going out to smoke a cigarette. You're not talking or texting. You're now listening. With these promos, that's what we did. The rest of the world stood still while we paid close attention to every fucking word, every syllable that came out of these superstars' mouths. That's fucking awesome. I yearn for that day again. This change that Vince McMahon is talking about, does that mean that one day we can get actual emotion and actual words coming out of our superstars that they mean, that they really are feeling? Or is everything going to continue to be fucking scripted word for word? Time will tell. Let's move on to scene 3, and this is a big one. Scene 3, take 1, Mania Madness. Action! So, scene 3, guys, simply titled Mania Madness. And what does that mean? Well, we're still 2 weeks away from Royal Rumble, yet Mania season, WrestleMania season, has already started to infect us all. Mania Madness is upon us, trust me, and this is where we all start thinking about what matches should be at WrestleMania, what matches are going to be at WrestleMania, right? We're starting to hear what matches Vince is putting together. And according to Busted Open Radio and Sportskeeda, who picked up the story, there's some matches that are more than just rumor right now. However, they just don't make sense to the Amplified Man. A lot of these matches anyway. So, if these are more than just rumor, And again, these are the main matches making their rounds as what is supposed to be more than rumor. That's why we're going over these 5 matches. I have to question if we're going to give a shit about these matches. If these are indeed where Vince is headed. Again, I have my doubts because they just don't make sense. Or they just don't captivate me off the page. But let's go over the 5 matches that Busted Open announced and outlets like Sportskeeda and Bleacher Report started to expand on. These 5 matches start off with a contradiction from earlier in this podcast when I said Shawn Michaels has said he's done wrestling, and I feel that's probably the best bet. As much as I would love to see him wrestle 20 more matches, and I will gladly hand over my money, or I'll be there in attendance live to watch Shawn Michaels do his thing. I don't care if he's 70 years old. But Shawn Michaels, I think, made the right decision from the beginning when he said maybe that's it. I do think it was a year or two too early, but who the fuck are we to say? Shawn Michaels retired, and then he comes back for 1 match. He looks like a totally different Shawn Michaels. He can still go in the ring, obviously. He absolutely lost a step or two, but Shawn Michaels losing a step or two is still better than 90% of the roster with all of their steps in gear. But it just looked like a different Shawn Michaels. So I do say this rumored match, that again, they're saying is more than just rumor, and what Vince wants is Shawn Michaels versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania for the championship. That is the first of these 5 matches I'm going over with you guys. That is one of the most talked about matches. I have to question what the fuck does that do for the championship? Daniel Bryan getting this championship late 2018 and as a heel means that he should win it against a top face at WrestleMania. But you're not going to have Shawn Michaels at his age and as a non-full-time wrestler, not even fucking, you can't even categorize him as a part-time wrestler. Shawn Michaels is going to defeat Daniel Bryan? So then you would have to have Daniel Bryan defeat Shawn Michaels. That's a really cool exhibition match we all would want to see. I would want to see AJ Styles, Shawn Michaels, maybe even a little bit more at this stage of the game. But Daniel Bryan, Shawn Michaels is up there with AJ Styles, Shawn Michaels. That's a dream match of epic proportions. I just don't know why you would need a championship on the line to do such. The only way this match truly captivates us along the lines as if Shawn Michaels was in his prime taking on Daniel Bryan. The only way that captivates me to that level is if they do a die-hard, hardcore teacher versus student, where they really jump into the past of Daniel Bryan training under Shawn Michaels' tutelage and under Shawn Michaels' school. That's the only way you would really captivate me, like this new Daniel Bryan. Who is he? This isn't the Daniel Bryan Shawn Michaels brought in as a young punk kid. And Daniel Bryan has this chip on his shoulder where he is going to prove he is better than the teacher. The student has now defeated the teacher. Then maybe we could get to that level as if Shawn Michaels was in his prime. But he's not. And there's no way you're going to sell me that Daniel Bryan's going to lose to Shawn Michaels at this stage in Michaels' game. Again, Shawn Michaels is better probably than 80% of the roster still. And Shawn Michaels losing a step or two is probably better than 90% of the roster still having a step or two. But Daniel Bryan is still the head of the class. He's up there with the AJ Styleses of this business. And Shawn Michaels and Bryan is a legit wrestling match. I'd be lying if I said I don't want to see it. I'd be lying if I said that's still, not to this very day, a dream match. But I don't know if that's where you put the heavyweight championship on the line. Because to me, that is an exhibition match. The guy and the guy from the past versus one of the guys from today. Michaels, Bryan, student, teacher. I'd be lying if I said that isn't captivating up front. But you need a lot more to sell me on what is the storyline going to be, how is this feud going to shape out, and the big question is, why is the championship on the line? Michaels winning that championship makes no fucking sense at all. So you're basically telling your audience Daniel Bryan wins that. Food for thought, man. Again, these are hypotheticals, guys. These are where Vince McMahon wanted to go. At last, the last knowledge of any Mania matches, more than just rumor, these were the last 5 matches that we know about. And you could say 6. I'm not even going over John Cena and Lars Sullivan again. We don't know if that's going to happen. But Daniel Bryan and Shawn Michaels is something that was more than just fucking pondered. It was never supposed to be Undertaker Shawn Michaels, apparently, after the Saudi Arabia event. It was always supposed to lead to Mania for either AJ Styles or Daniel Bryan. Vince decided to go with Bryan, but now Shawn Michaels is coming out and saying, I'm fucking done. I've had time to reconsider this. I've had time to go back and watch that Saudi Arabia match. I'm done. What ends up happening, guys? Does Shawn Michaels this time stay committed to his word? Or are we going to see Shawn Michaels taking on Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania? That's one of the huge marked matches that we're hearing about. And then there's number 2. Randy Orton and AJ Styles. This match comes out of nowhere like an RKO. Why? Why do we need to see Orton in a huge matchup at WrestleMania with AJ Styles? Of what significance? Randy Orton's character got stale. I actually enjoyed the feud that he had with Jeff Hardy, and then Orton goes right back into obscurity, it seems. Or at least that character goes into hibernation. It's bullshit. If you're gonna stick with Orton, stick with the motherfucker. Like when he had the Legend Killer gimmick. You stayed with that and he became something. He became somebody. He became a superstar. But when you keep ebbs and flowing this motherfucker, ups and downs, man, nobody's going to invest in that character. So when you had him with the Jeff Hardy feud, you should have kept going with it, or don't at all. Now all of a sudden we're supposed to give a shit about him in this huge feud heading into WrestleMania with AJ Styles. The only way I give a shit about this match is if you have that type of Randy Orton, the Legend Killer / the one that was tarnishing people like Jeff Hardy. The guy like the fucking RKO machine coming out of nowhere, being vicious and ruthless. If you have that type of Legend Killer taking on this new AJ Styles, or you could say the older AJ Styles, like when he was a heel and he was taking Shane McMahon and driving his head through a fucking windshield backstage, that's the AJ Styles we're going to need to see. And we're going to need to see that vicious Styles versus vicious Orton. And the whole storyline leading up to it has to be fucking ruthless. I want to see them jumping each other in parking lots, supermarkets, hotels. I want Randy Orton hiding in AJ Styles' closet before he goes to bed at night and he jumps him and there happens to be a camera there. That's the type of feud. You give me that, and then I might be on board with an Orton Styles match out of nowhere with no significance. Then that might captivate me. Third match, this is a give me. This is a triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's Heavyweight Championship. Heavyweight? Just call it the SmackDown Women's Championship. There ain't no other one. And that's Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and fucking Ronda Rousey. Now, we're guessing that's going to be for a fucking championship, right? Is Asuka gonna hold that shit going into WrestleMania? No. That's going to be somehow Becky Lynch and Charlotte and Ronda Rousey for the championship. There's no way you can send both Charlotte and Becky Lynch over to the Raw to defend for that championship. So somehow Ronda Rousey has to get over to SmackDown. They have to blur the lines, and this is going to be for that championship. Or are you just going to have them have a triple threat match for no fucking belt? This is the part that confuses everybody. Are they really going to give Sasha Banks the championship and Ronda Rousey somehow finds her way over to SmackDown? I don't see that happening. The only thing they had all of 2018 for Sasha was a stupid tag team with Bayley just to get over to women's tag team championships in the future. They didn't even have a plan. So now all of a sudden Sasha gets the championship? I don't see that, man. So somehow Asuka has to drop that championship and Ronda finds her way over to SmackDown. I don't see how Charlotte and Becky can go over to Raw and defend for Ronda. But that means Ronda now is going to drop the strap before WrestleMania? Isn't that highly unlikely and really fucking stupid? So nothing makes sense in this triple threat. And again, these aren't the matches I'm making, guys. These are the matches that are currently, from what we're hearing from reputable sources, these are the matches that Vince has penciled in as of now. How do you get to a triple threat match between Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda, and for what championship? Asuka's got the SmackDown, Ronda's got the Raw championship. The most likely scenario here, or what should have been done, is the horsewomen. You have a couple of months, several months, to build that feud and make even the casual fan give a shit about it. And then you have all the women in there. But there's no way to go about that now, man. And then you could have Asuka having a separate championship match at WrestleMania, and you could have some other female, like an Ember Moon, going for the Raw championship or defending the Raw championship at WrestleMania. But instead, they're putting Sasha in there. So no matter who wins, Sasha or Ronda at Royal Rumble, they're both horsewomen of their respective horsewomen cliques. So either way, this is all just a fucking clusterfuck. If they did this correctly, you would have had Becky and Ronda. You just would have had to have booked Becky flawlessly. And unfortunately, they did not do that. And by not doing that, they took that red-hot momentum that Becky Lynch once had, and now that is just momentum. It's not red-hot anymore. So that can't even main event WrestleMania now. Unless they really kick Becky Lynch's booking into high gear. I don't see how you're going to captivate me with a main event of Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey one-on-one. Or even the triple threat with Charlotte. I feel like that red-hot, white-hot momentum has now just turned into momentum. But that's what they have penciled in, a triple threat match. It has to be for a championship. Which one? If they do decide to go with the triple threat. Me, I'm old school. I want one-on-one. If you're gonna give me Becky and Ronda, let's do that shit. I don't necessarily need to or want to see that in the main event of WrestleMania, but I'll see it. Just do me one favor, book Becky Lynch correctly. But again, for the last time right now, I am gonna say, they have penciled in a triple threat. Or at least that's what we're hearing. Another fucking triple threat at a big pay-per-view. Come on, man, you can do better than that. By the way, no doubt it's going to be good if it actually ends up coming to fruition. Obviously, they're going to put on a kick-ass performance, but come on, man, we can do better booking-wise. WrestleMania is supposed to be the Elite taking on the Elite one-on-one. The fourth match that is being discussed as more than just rumor and something Vince McMahon is set on is Batista and Triple H. I gotta be honest, guys. I'm not sure that that's really captivating me in any way. I would love to see Batista come back. I love seeing Triple H wrestle another match. But one-on-one, what the fuck do we give a shit about this for? They were Evolution. They're buddies in real life. You're gonna all of a sudden sell me that Batista wants to come back for one more match against Triple H to prove he's better? Bullshit. And I know Batista has been saying for over a year now how he does want to come back, and the only match that makes sense to him is Triple H. The only problem is that match doesn't make sense to anybody else under the sun. WrestleMania, and I'm watching Triple H and Batista? Oh, motherfucker, you better come out with an interesting, fun, captivating, highly entertaining storyline and feud to make me give a shit about that fucking match. I'm telling you right now. There's no other way I would care. Match number 5. This is for the Universal Championship. Currently, Vince McMahon has Seth Rollins taking on Brock Lesnar. This is a rematch from what, guys? WrestleMania 31, I believe? This was in San Francisco or Sonoma Valley, whatever the fuck, over there in California. When Rollins became the third wheel in a match between Roman Reigns and Brock. And fucking Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins ended up taking the championship. I think he defeated Roman Reigns, though, not actually Brock Lesnar. So there is a little bit of beef. There is a little bit of story there. My problem is, the problem I had earlier in this podcast that I showed you guys about 50-50 booking, is Seth Rollins going to be enough to satisfy us to go on and take on Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? Guys, the answer for me right now, hell no. We went from guys like fucking Roman Reigns taking on Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker taking on Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania to Seth Rollins. Come on, man. Brock Lesnar took care of Daniel Bryan, defeated him. Took care of AJ Styles, defeated him. And on the grandest stage, Seth Rollins is gonna beat this motherfucker? Mr. 50-50 booking? We love Seth Rollins, but fuck, man, especially the way he's been booked, you're not selling me that he's the guy to go in there at WrestleMania and take the strap from Brock. Because again, my question is, will we give a fuck? Just a question. Those are 5 matches, guys, and if you add on the match we talked about earlier with John Cena and Lars Sullivan, if that ends up coming to fruition, that's 6 matches right now that are being discussed as more than just rumor, and I highly doubt every single one of them for good reason. Because if that is the case, and that is truth behind these matches, then Vince McMahon seriously needs to hand over that pen and paper. I don't even care if it's to Hornswoggle or 10-year-old Nicholas. Somebody else has to redo that card. Because if those are the first 6 matches being fucking pondered, help us all from WrestleMania. Because I am not sold on any of those fucking matches. But it's Mania Madness, guys. Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna flip-flop, twist and turn at every which way for the next couple of fucking months. But a lot of things are gonna be learned in 2 weeks at Royal Rumble. And we're gonna see if these matches have any fucking validity to them. If these reputable sources know what the fuck they're talking about. We're gonna see. Or we're gonna see if half are indeed coming to fruition and the other half are being turned and twisted and changed. And how? How so? In what way? It's Mania Madness. You can't help wrestling fans from fantasy booking shit now and fucking... You can't blame wrestling fans for thinking about and trying to delve into the news of what matches there's going to be. But I highly advise every wrestling fan, as much as it is fun to do such, and as much as I will not blame you to do such, think about what you are reading, think about what you're watching, think about what is being spewed to you. Don't just accept it and say, please sir, can I have some more? Think about it and say, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. Or wait a second, I'm not on board with this shit. And raise your fucking voice about it. We got a few months to WrestleMania. We don't have to be fucking given horse shit. We've been given horse shit for years now. We can speak up and we can try to get things changed, man. I really want this year's WrestleMania to be really fucking exceptional. Because not only because I'm going to be there live, not only because it's in my backyard of New York, New Jersey, but because we need this more than ever. WWE especially has been stale as fuck. We need a badass WrestleMania to kick 2019 into high gear. So, when these matches start being fucking announced as rumor or as factual, we need to speak the fuck up on how we feel about this shit. Maybe it'll touch somebody. Maybe it'll get to the front offices. Maybe it'll get to the suits and ties. Maybe it'll get to Vince McMahon. But I'm telling you right now, these matches right now, these rumored matches, not captivating the Amplified, man. Not one fucking bit. I'll shut up about that. Let's get to the opening credit. The opening? We're not doing another 2 hours. Fuck no. Let's get to the closing credits and let's end this shit off the right way. Alright guys, so it's time for the end credits. We're going to end this podcast. Can't wait already for number 3 next Sunday, man. My 3rd podcast, because I don't know about you guys, man. I love these. We get to spend a lot of time talking about something I'm so passionate about and something we all love and something we're all passionate about, and that's pro wrestling, dude. So thank you for allowing me to come into your homes or your cars or fucking into your gyms or your supermarkets, wherever the fuck you're listening to me or watching me. I honestly appreciate it, guys, more than you know. End credits. Let's go over some other fun stories here that are making the rounds in the wrestling world. The Undertaker, he finally gets an official Twitter. I don't know if I like this or if this is the one thing I never wanted to hear or see. But The Undertaker is officially on Twitter, guys, at The Undertaker. There's another account that people think is him. It's Undertaker WWE or Mark Calloway, Undertaker WWE, some shit like that. But no, it's just at The Undertaker. And that is the official Twitter of The Undertaker, supposedly. And he's already tweeting. Evander Holyfield tweeted out, "Welcome to Twitter." Undertaker tweeted back, "Thanks, champ," with a casket emoji. He's talking about, "Let's go, boys, Cowboys." He's on Twitter, man. I don't know if I ever wanted to see the dead man on Twitter. But you know what? At this stage in his life, let him have some fun. Kenny Omega. Everybody's talking about Kenny Omega. Is he really going to sign with AEW? Is he going to show up at the Royal Rumble? He was not at the press conference. There hasn't been really any big word on Omega officially signing with AEW. And again, as I just said, he wasn't at the press conference for AEW in Jacksonville last week. But all signs are pointing to Omega officially turning down a WWE contract, and he is supposed to sign with AEW once his New Japan contract ends at the end of this very month, January 2019. So, any hopes of Omega showing up at the Rumble, guys, that doesn't look too good. It looks like WWE did offer him a contract, he did turn it down, and he is going to show up to AEW once his contract is up. That's what it's looking like anyway. Don't hate the messenger, but if you do want to hate the messenger, at least it's the perfect person to hate. The bad guy, the boogeyman, the fucking asshole. Go ahead and hate, I don't care. But it doesn't look like Omega's coming to WWE. For a lot of people, that's probably a good thing. You're probably like, good, save Omega. Because WWE would probably fucking ruin him anyway. On the same course of Omega, I want to talk real quick, Young Bucks. Young Bucks, it looks like, also was offered huge contracts by WWE. The contracts, supposedly, were for basically anything the Young Bucks fucking wanted. I'm exaggerating a little, but that's what it seems like to me. They offered them a 3-year deal, supposedly. Mega money. It was described as AJ Styles type money. That's a lot of stock for the fucking Young Bucks, man, for Vince McMahon to just throw that at him. That's when you know maybe it's Triple H who now has the checkbook. I don't fucking have an idea, but that's some serious money if you're comparing Young Bucks to AJ Styles. Because then WWE's booking has to make them relevant as such. We already know we love the Young Bucks. We know what they're capable of. But Vince McMahon, in the way he does his tag team division, the Young Bucks could be ruined in 2 weeks. Anyway, AJ Styles type money, multi-year, and supposedly there was a what do you want to call it? There was a specialty gap in this fucking contract that the Young Bucks made sure was in it. The Young Bucks made sure that they had an out, that anytime they're not happy in the 3 years, they can walk. Contractually, they won't be obligated to stay. I've never heard of that in my fucking life. The Ultimate Warrior would have loved that shit. But apparently the Young Bucks had everything in this offer, but it was just, the carrot dangling in front of them was just too sweet when you have a multi-billionaire like fucking Shahid and Tony Khan telling you, hey, we want to start a promotion and we want you guys running it. That was much better than anything WWE could have offered. That's probably the only thing that could have been offered that would have made the Young Bucks not go to WWE with a fucking offer like that. Shit. Finally, guys, WWE, it was announced that WWE canceled a show in Tucson. It was a live event show, apparently, in Tucson. And the reasoning was because of production issues. Was it WWE? Or did you cancel this show that was supposed to be on January 28th? Did you cancel it because nobody was buying tickets? I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying, is it not the case? After the attendance that we've been seeing, especially the last several months, I'm really curious to see the more details, the finer details, the actual facts of what these production issues were. Was the production issue you just couldn't sell tickets? Because if that's the case, be prepared to be canceling even more shows in the future. That's it! The Amplified Man has given you another nearly 2 hours of podcast. I hope you guys loved it. I think you did. We had a lot of fun, man. We covered everything from top fucking mic drop shock promos to what's 50-50 booking to fucking WrestleMania rumors and plans already. From Alexa Bliss to Shawn Michaels to Lars Sullivan to Undertaker on Twitter. We've covered every fucking spectrum I can think of. I'm gonna take a fucking coffee break. We're gonna reconvene tomorrow, obviously, or no, Tuesday morning. What am I saying? Maybe an impromptu video tomorrow, but Tuesday morning for Monday Night Raw's review and reaction. Tuesdays, SmackDown will be reviewed on Wednesday morning. Maybe an impromptu video later in the week. Right back here next Sunday, guys, for the 3rd episode of BC's Pro Wrestling Amplified podcast. And I promise you, I got some big shit planned for that one, just as I did these last two. Much love and respect to all you guys. Thank you for joining me and inviting me again into wherever you're listening to me, wherever you're viewing me. I thank you for allowing me to entertain you. It really means a lot. I can't wait to talk to you guys again and do it all again. For now, holla at your boy. Peace, cause he's out. The Amplified Man saying check you.